Association president saying that she had been in contact with the Justice Department. So that was untrue. He tried to distance himself from them by saying, well, my memorandum doesn't talk about domestic terrorism or the Patriot Act. But when they released the memorandum, it announced that he was creating a task force that included members of the National Security
Sorry, folks.
Sorry.
So can I continue?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, so my question, I guess, is when people are able to start suing their employers and everything else for any adverse reactions to these, is the county going to be able to swallow those lawsuits? Are we gonna have enough insurance if people start suing this county for being forced to take a vaccine, or else lose your job? You're basically, you can walk away and lose everything. But is the county gonna have the insurance to cover all these possible lawsuits? Since they're mandated. Because I'm noticing other states are starting to say that employees can sue their employers for forced mandates. Does anybody know?
Well, this portion is we don't really respond or react.
Okay, so
appreciate the information.
when are you going to respond? I guess is my question.
As I stated before, so Robert's rules work as you come in and tell us your concern.
Okay.
We note it, and then if you'd like to send me an email, I can respond to it directly. That's great.
That's really great. Okay.
Or I can wait if you don't mind waiting. I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Okay,
For
well,
sure.
I'm just, a simple yes or no would have been fine. This is taking more time to discuss me not being able to get an answer than it is the answer itself.
I understand, but if I don't stick to the rules, then
Okay.
what is it?
All right.
Appreciate your input, though. Anything else?
No, that'll work.
Thanks. Thank you. Anybody else?
Goldstrom, Goldstrom, Terry, Terri.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple comments. My name is William Sick, and I'm from Cato Township, and I just want to state that I'm very concerned about the mandates that are being forced upon us. And I've seen several proposals presented to the commission, and I'm quite disappointed that the commission has done nothing to guarantee the rights of the citizens, and protect us from these unconstitutional mandates. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Jeffrey Dobbs. I live in Glen. I am the vice chair of the Alcona County Republicans and work with Alcona Grassroots, but I'm here as a concerned citizen in full support of Robert Carrick's declaration. I feel we need the county to affirm their oath and give us constitutional guarantees that we have medical freedom and choice. Hope you all do the right thing. You're great people. You do a great job, administrative, but we need the oath fulfilled. So that's all we're asking. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Carrie Mullins, I have a few things to say.
Sure, Carrie.
So my name's Carrie Mullins. I live in Mankato. I'm also the chair for the Alcona County Republican Party. You're all Republicans, right? Carolyn, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Breggy, Mr. Gauthier, Mr. Small. You're all Republicans. Am I right?
I stated the rules, Carrie.
Yep, I know you did. I know you did. I think I've made my point. So bodily autonomy, medical autonomy is freedom. Vaccine mandates are tyranny. Y'all should be for freedom and against tyranny if you want to keep that R next to your name. Personally, I don't think you need to be afraid to support resolutions and documents that say as much. It's sad to me how many resolutions have come before you and how many you've pushed aside. I would like to see a little bit more action based on the fact that you guys are Republicans. That being said, you're more than welcome to join us on the 4th Monday of the month. That would be the 22nd. We are having our final meeting and potluck dinner. It is open to the public. Bring a dish to pass if you can. Make whatever you like, and I'm sure we'll like it too. So that's Monday, November 22nd, 7:00 p.m. at the Chosen Ranch Community Center in Lincoln. Okay? I'd love to have you. And that'll be it for me.
Hey, Jerry, anybody else?
I'll say some stuff.
Sure.
Jerry Klingenberg, Harrisville Township. I agree with all previous commenters, and I again fully support the Turk's resolution. And I just think that something needs to be done, like anything, just to show support for the community, for all of us that don't agree with the mandates, like anything, like any kind of resolution that you could pass, even on your own, just to show us that we have something to say, that we have that protection here in the community, that, we're not going to get mandated this stuff, or at least that you agree with it. Because like everyone else is saying, we haven't seen that much action. And that's all really, like, we don't want to turn into Australia or like Austria, where they're showing, we need proof of vaccination to like get into anything. Kind of like the note that's on the door over there. Like how are you, like right now, how are we able to tell who's been vaccinated and who's not? Like you can wear a mask only if you have to wear a mask if you haven't been vaccinated. But how are you, like, can you just ask me that right now? Because that's not really supporting my freedom, like my freedom of my choice not to want to be vaccinated. So like right now, I think that note should come off the door. Or there should be something like in the description that says like how you're going to do that. Because if we're ready to get to that full on tyranny state where you're asking for people to show like, are we going to get to that? Because it sounds like we're already there with that note on the door. So I would just like for you guys to do something. And that would probably be a great first step, is to take that down or pass this resolution. Thanks.
I'd like to say something more about the note on the door. You're forcing us to live a lie if or confess our vaccination status or live a lie. It's basically a Soviet tactic. That note on the door. It's a form of manipulation where we will not be able to have public input. The public will not have input into your meetings and into our government unless we submit to either lying about our vaccination status or becoming vaccinated so we can enter the building. And you would have to assume that everybody in here who's not wearing a mask is vaccinated. If we were not lying. I'm not vaccinated, and I'm not wearing a mask.
Anybody else?
Yes, hi, Jessica Dobbs.
Hello, Jessica.
Hi, I am in Curtis Township. I am here in support of Dr. Turek's resolution or declaration. I'm not sure which he's presenting today. Either way, I'm in full support of him. I'm in full support of freedom. I am in full support of not being tyrannical. I am in full support of the Board of Commissioners doing what they are supposed to do, and that's to listen to their constituents as well as administrative duties. There's more to it than just paperwork. There's more to it, than a lot of things, but constantly telling us that you're not going to vote for freedom does not send the right message to many, many people within the county. I don't understand how you can be against anything that declares that you are for freedom, because that in itself is reminiscent of declaring just the opposite, that you are instead for tyranny. So I am here in support of the Turks. I'm here in support of freedom, and we'll see how this goes.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please.
Patty Thomas, I'm Harrisville Township. I'm here today fully vaccinated, wearing my mask because I'm not comfortable breathing the same air that's being recirculated of people who have chosen not to be vaccinated. The state of Michigan now has the highest per capita number of positive cases. I grew up in a time when smallpox vaccinations were required, MMR, polio, DPT, all of these things that have not been a source of political consternation in our country until recently. I'm in favor of public health. I worked all of my life as a registered nurse. I've watched people die not being able to get air because their lungs are filled with fluid. That is what happens. People die as if they are drowning on the top of their hospital bed. This is what we are exposing our children and our families to in this community. I am in favor of the public health mandates that say we ought to be vaccinated, we ought to wear masks. The Delta variant is spreading because we have so many ready victims to spread the virus. Please get vaccinated and love your children, love your community.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Lisa Turek, Harrisville Township. I'm a survivor of COVID, just had it for 5 weeks, doing just fine. Didn't have any trouble, didn't go to the hospital, didn't need to be on the ventilator, didn't have any trouble at all. I just had it like a sickness, perfectly healthy, not a problem, didn't wear a mask, never had a problem. But I'm here in support of the resolution for freedom, for vaccine choice, mask choice, and in support of the resolution. And I hope you are able to sign that today. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Ma'am, sorry. I didn't see your giant boat.
Okay, good. Sure, thank you. Rosie Perrin.
And I know you're Rosie. So
I
that's
know,
fine.
I know. I was gonna go, oh my gosh, I changed that much since last month. I'm in support of the resolution as well. I'm in support of choice. We have freedom in this country that we're so readily giving away for a vaccine that is not even a vaccine. It's not been tested, it's not been proven, and it's not even approved. And I am so opposed to forcing people to be guinea pigs. And I fully believe that if so many of the townships have already approved this resolution, and I really don't understand why our county commissioners don't, when so many of the people in the community do. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on, Dr. Turk, if you please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time again. Before I get started with the amended resolution or declaration, I wanted to go over a few things that came up during your deliberations at the last meeting that I didn't want to interject myself in your conversation at that time. Number one, this resolution or declaration is being brought forth by myself and my wife as private citizens, not as any representative of any group. If I haven't mentioned that in the past, I apologize. I think I have, at least maybe I didn't last time. If I say we, it just means my wife and I, no group. Are there other people that support this? Absolutely. But depending on which survey you follow, between 60 to 70% of Republicans are opposed to vaccine mandates in any form. Are there other groups that are interested in this also? Yes, the Alcona Grassroots Group presented a resolution to you at the same time I did the first time. But my wife and I are here as private individuals presenting this. The other thing that came up, one of the commissioners started to ask me whether I had considered this resolution or declaration being very watered down. But I didn't want to interject myself into your deliberations, but the question is absolutely, particularly if you consider how this stacks up not only to the first resolution I submitted, but if you've seen some of the other resolutions that other counties have passed, yes, you would say it's deeply watered down. Almost, but not quite, almost to the point of being worthless, but I don't think so. I think it still says what we would want it to say. Hopefully you would agree. The resolution, all I did after the last meeting was change the verbiage that Commissioner Thompson had concerns with. The second, therefore, I removed anything about similarly mandated documentation. It's basically been rephrased to be very straightforward, taking his concerns in. The 3 or 4 times I've been in front of you, I've specifically and purposefully refrained from emotional pleas to you. And I do that knowing full well that emotional pleas are how people do make decisions more than logical presentations. I haven't gone that direction just because that's not my personality to do that. I would like you to consider one thing, though. I know from personal conversations, at least 2 of you have had the vaccine. And I would ask you, how would you feel if your employer or your ability to be a commissioner, if they said, in order to keep your position, you were not able to get a vaccine? If the tables were turned, if they said, in order for you to keep your job, you had to be unvaccinated, how would you feel? Because that's what's being done to these people that we're trying to address here. How would you feel if the tables were turned? If you were not able to exercise your free right to determine what's best for your health in order to keep your job? But that's it. And I just, I'd like you to take a look at that last change I made and go forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wait, Dan has a question for you.
Chair, I just want to make one thing clear. This is not a resolution, this is declaration.
That was one of the changes that was made to make it a
Everybody keeps saying
declaration.
resolution, but it's a declaration.
Yes, it's the declaration.
Okay. Yes, let's just do it because.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the declaration in support of the vaccine awareness and medical autonomy that has been provided to us in our board pack.
A motion,
Support it.
seconded by Dan. Discussion.
I think that this has been watered down to its original, but that does not make it any less valuable. It doesn't make it any less of a statement that we really do believe people should be able to have their own say in what they do. I know that we run the risk of the mandates that are coming. I'm very concerned over them. And they are, I believe, they are going to end up being tied to dollars in the state and from the feds. We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. But I think at least we can express the fact that we think it's best for the freedom of our country, for the freedom of those people within our state and our county, that we say, you know, we really want you to have as much freedom as reasonably possible. We still have to stop at the red light and all of those. Those are rules, yep, those are regulations. But I think this goes farther to a deeper core than any of that. And I would hope that 2 of you would agree with me. 2 or more.
Anybody else? You know, the only real power, not power, it's the wrong word, the only real influence that county commissioners have over anybody in the county when it comes to vaccines or mandates is the employees of Corona County, which we have not made any move to do any of these things. You know, a little bit, you know, when Kerry comes in and says, oh, you're not real Republicans. Well, that's a little bit funny because that just means they're not ultra conservative maybe, or, you know, there's all different flavors of Republican, just like all different flavors of everything else. So part of America is freedom to think what I want, freedom to think what you want. I don't step on your toes, you don't step on my toes. I don't have a problem with you, but in the end, like I said, we only have control over the employees of Corona County. That's it. And that is only inside of this building and next door. We provide some accounting services for other units that are separate, and not really officially our employees, so it keeps us under the 100-person mandate. Yeah, it really does. And you know, at the end of the day, I don't need to stand on a mountaintop and shout, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. That's where I stand. So, everybody else? Well, let's go. Let's do a roll call.
Gautier,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Brumman,
Yes.
Reggie,
No.
Small.
No.
Okay, good. Thank you. Not good, but moving on. Go on to the unfinished business of roofing bids. Dave, you want to? Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. You want to slide in here? I should.
Sure.
Big note in giant letters that you need to talk tonight. Yes.
On the emergency manager side, I've got two grants, the EMPG, which is the Emergency Management Performance Grants. Those are annual grants that come through the state police, Homeland Security. The EMPG grant pays 1/3 of the emergency manager's salary on a yearly basis. So we got to get that signed. The other one is the EMPG grant, which is ARPA funds that are also coming through Homeland Security, which is an additional 17%, which will pay 50% of the emergency manager's salary for 1 year. So those are formalities that need to be signed and forwarded back to the state.
The first one we do every year.
Correct.
The next one is special.
Yep,
Yeah.
and it's a one-time ARPA, just like all the other ARPA things that are going on in the county.
Okay.
Do you need a motion or you just his?
What's that?
Do you need a motion or just his signature?
Maybe both. I need a signature in a minute.
We can move it in the business.
Okay.
The business?
Yep. Authorize chair to sign. It's called again, EMPG agreements. Any questions for Scott?
Just like forward the copy of what you're requesting, the grant amounts to the treasurer's office, so we
Sure.
can get that in the computer.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Now, Dave, if you would, any updates on roofing bids?
The Building Grounds Committee and I met and went over the proposed bids. We had to ask some questions. They all basically responded back the same. There were some questions whether labor was included in some of the projects, timeline projects, warranty. So basically what it works out to is going through Duralast Roofing, which is actually the manufacturer of the roof. They came up with all the spec sheets that they bid on. So everybody bid on the same exact thing. So basically, once the roof is done and completed by any of the contractors, there's a 2-year warranty on it that's to be maintained with the warranty defects through the contractor that installed it. After 2 years, we can have anybody deal with the roof that we want to. We are not locked into a certain person. The roof will have a 20-year warranty when we're done on it. So those are just a couple of questions that were brought up on it. As you can see on the list here, what we ended up going through it, TRC Roofing out of Alpena, their bid was $179,432. They estimated approximately 20 days to do the project. Universal Roofing out of Linwood bid $161,448. They said 20 days approximately to do the project. Great Lakes Roofing and Insulation, which has an office in Sault Ste. Marie, and it's grailing. I thought it was Gaylor, but it's actually grailing. They were the low bidder, $156,000 even, and they said it'd take approximately 30 days to do it. We asked them all about approximate start time. Earlier in the spring, better. They all said they were saying the latest starting date would probably be June. If we get an early spring and materials are available at that time, they'll probably even start in May. If the weather's nice. So it would be an early seat, we'd be one of the first projects on their list.
How soon do we need to get a response back for them to be able to stay on the schedule?
We didn't really, there's no exactly, they'd like to know within another month or so, so they can start getting their materials ordered and set for the springtime and set up their schedule. The longer we wait, the longer we're gonna get pushed out into the spring.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes you just have to start talking.
I can't do that. I try not to. Question regarding their insurance and their bonding, please.
That was all included in the bid
It wasn't
price.
a bid. so-
Yep, it was all included in the bid.
Want to move this new business or you want to do something else?
Well, I'll vote on it after we do the budget because. Yeah, we can. Move on.
This is all for 2022.
It is.
So it doesn't have anything, I mean.
Well, it does, it really does bring it on the book.
It's in there.
Oh, you did? Yeah, fantastic. Then put it in new business. Oops. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I was going to make a motion, but if you want to do it as a new business, that's fine.
No, new business is empty. You can have some things to do in there.
It's getting filled up.
There you go, see?
Oh, what was the one, you wanted one other thing?
We'll add it in there.
And then
And
new business?
motion.
Okay, take a motion for that, right?
Oh, what's your recommendation, Nate, by the way?
I think we should just go with the lowest bidder. They're all bidding on the same exact thing, which would be the Great Lakes Roofing and Insulation of Sault Ste. Mary's headquarters.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dave.
All right.
We already did that part of it. Caledonia is back on the docket here. Did they call and ask to?
Yeah, I talked.
Okay.
I talked to
Go
her.
ahead.
And basically, all this is putting back, getting rid of a rule change that was put in effect 10 years ago. It was moved from a 100-foot lot to 80-foot lot. We're now we're changing that zoning to make it back to 100. That's all it is. So it's really it's moving back to where it used to be. It didn't work out the last 10 years. They've had issues, and so they're moving back to that 100-foot.
Do they want to expedite do they want to vote on it or just wait for the 30 days?
I think
Do they care?
it's been almost 30 days.
Yeah, all right. All right, good. Moving on to the 2022 health insurance quote. In the packet should be the information. I'm going to let Trina speak to us a little bit about this.
Okay. Jennifer with 44 North just recently quoted us the another view at the HRA plan, which is instead of the utilization of the deductible and the reimbursed plan, it would be a full-out purchase plan. And what it looks like, she explained, was because of our low amount of employees that are in that plan right now, if we chose to go with that instead, it would reduce our increase in our renewal from our health insurance from 10.06% to 7.42%. And she believes that that would be the best bet for the county to choose, along with the option 1B HSA plan, which is just a 7.85% increase instead of that 10% as well. So in front of you is the amount.
This is based on the special meeting we had last week, the workshop that we did.
Yeah.
And this is the numbers we asked Jennifer to come back with. We need to make a move on this because enrollment starts December 1st.
Right.
So I'll make a motion. Select option 1A for HRA and option 1B for HSA for Oconee County's health plan selection for 2022. Support.
And if
Like
I
to support it. Now comment.
Yeah, if I may, I sent a couple emails out to Jennifer today, just trying to get some more explanation on the purchase plan. And basically what that does in a nutshell is it cuts out all the county's liability if somebody indeed went way over their deductible and the county had to cover it. Other than that, all the coverage is the same. It's basically no different. It just takes the liability of the county out of the question on over deductible, going over your deductible. So other than that, it saves, I mean, I see no problem with it. It saves us quite a bit of money, about $14,000, $15,000 total, $14,700 something.
Yeah, it's a little bit less to the employee too.
Yeah.
I believe that means you could actually take out the amount in the budget that you do for the HRA as well. in the budget?
Yeah, we would, yeah, we.
Oh, the overage,
Yeah,
yeah,
we pulled that deductible right out of there.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Just won't happen.
Right?
So you're not supplying deductible? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, I think we're supplying the up to the amount, but never go over that. You know what I'm saying? As far
No,
as the
because there
county.
were limits on what was, on what the county covered for deductible for the HRA.
Right, the county will not have to cover the deductible, I think, for the HRA. I think that's what it is.
So this purchase plan here takes out the $5,000 to $10,000 deductible liability. So it's just the actual plan purchase. So we're paying for the actual plan as it stands. There'd be no extra liability. So you wouldn't hit that 2,000 and then have the county pay the 2,000. That wouldn't be there. And the reason why that liability, the reason why these rates are so good is because there's so few employees in that plan.
So their deductible will be the 2,400,
Right.
as
Right.
opposed to the, where the count, they had the 5,000,
Yeah.
10,000.
Yeah, the employee always seen the 2,000, 4,000, but the employer seen that extra liability of reaching. So after they hit that 2,000 and go 3,000 was liable to the county, which is what we would put in the budget for, but we wouldn't have that.
We wouldn't have it.
Because originally 5,010 was to save money. That's why.
It was
purchased that
originally,
way.
Right.
yes. And with more employees in that, it was a better rate.
He's basically saying with such few employees in there, you could really be a lot more, you're just getting more, what's the right word?
Well, they take the utilization,
Yeah.
which is increasing that. So every time somebody hits that deductible and the county has to step in, more utilization we use, the higher the rates for on the
Right.
plan.
That's right.
So with how many people are in the plan to reduce that, to that purchase price, I guess just reduces that liability.
Well, it's pretty clear. Yep, absolutely.
That's what the company I had.
Is there a discussion? What's the roll call?
Reggie,
Yes.
Dossier,
Yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yeah. This is all inclusive on the HSA stuff, right, Trina? With what county kicks in for the,
Yes, that does include.
that, I mean, we just voted for all of it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. That's what I make sure of. That's not a separate thing. Okay. Good. Moving on. 2022 fiscal year general fund budget. Razzle dazzle, here we go. Kind of excited because I still am anyway. Quite a couple of hiccups.
There are still a few hiccups. The information I got yesterday in the afternoon. In the last revenue,
Sorry.
would be an option, but that was already included in that budget. So you had it requested at 80,000 to be brought in from COVID. It's already in there. Unless it's approved for a project next year, then it wouldn't be able to be, we could still use the lost revenue portion.
Okay.
And it's basically coming in from fund balance because this year we will have a little bit more fund balance than we've seen in the past because of the monies that we had from lost revenue. So that's gonna be sitting in the fund balance. So that was the 190,700 is transferring from fund balance, which made the difference of that roofing project to cover the roofing project. So that's, I know that's a little confusing, but we had allocated the monies that we got from the ARP or from the funding and allocated into 4 years. We had our projects and then anything left over was going to be carried through. So it's still sitting in the fund balance. So those are, and there was a, let me just jump back to the, in the revenues, there was a few questions that were presented yesterday evening in regards to some of the revenues. 501, which is emergency services, says 7,000. And it was, I was told it should be 7,772. Is that the EMPG grant?
Yes.
Okay. So I got that yesterday. That has not been changed. And what I can do is make the changes here, or you can do it on your spreadsheet and I can get it done after. But if we're adding more revenue, I know this isn't your workshop, but there, you know, just some last minute things that did not get accomplished. So that was one. So that's 7,772. The 501,001. I don't see.
No.
I don't see that number, Carolyn. Is that possibly two? The HEMP grant? You said my suggestion is 3,200. It says 101,000,501,001. I
Must be
don't,
502.
well, that's sheriff's fest, and then we have the HMEP. What's that one?
It's a hazardous materials that goes along with the LEPC.
Right. Do you have a number for that? Is it 1,000
Normally it's 1,000,
or 1,500?
15, I'm sorry, 1,500 is the number.
So I'm not sure what the 32 was, but I'll
have to look.
check it. Really, 615. Equalization Services. Right now, they took in $9,000 this year. They reduced the revenue by 6,000. I wasn't real clear, and we haven't met with any. I haven't been privy to any meetings with departments in regards to things. Just curious as to what the reduction was, because we still have splits and terminations and different things going on. I don't know if you want to up that.
They brought in 9,000 this year.
Yeah. Is that something you want to increase, or I don't want to make this a workshop and take forever, but
Yeah.
What else you got?
620, which is registered deed services, below the current year with about 7 weeks to go. Same. So they've obviously taken in more money than anticipated. And these can be changed later. I'm just letting you know that
So
those things were observed.
she turned in less.
She turned in more than, her budget for 2022 is less than what it is
And she took in more.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's taken in more.
Yeah.
627,009. I don't have anything for that. No, 676,006.
Are you going down to Carolyn's list in your email?
Yeah.
Oh,
Insurance dividend. Says 2,000, she suggested 1. And 699,210, transfer in from ambulance services. That was just the repayment of the monies.
Right.
So there are a few minor things there. They wouldn't amount to a whole huge difference, but we could reduce the transfer from fund balance to reflect the
Right.
appropriate amount.
4,500.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what 0.01% of the whole budget.
Like I said, I've not met with any or heard what the outcome
Yeah.
was of any departmental.
I think we're dealing, I mean, my personal opinion, we're dealing with nickels and dimes here.
Well,
We can-
on that aspect, we also have things coming out of inappropriate line items in some cases.
Oh,
That's, you know, this is your, I input the information into the computer from the departments. Based on, I've done, you know, we get the information, calculations from the clerk's office for the wages and the benefits. So those were all input based on the calculations from them, and then the budget, just so everybody knows, the budgets went to the departments pre-filled in with wage and benefit information. Those have been recalculated, you know, maybe 3 or 4 times based on changes in departments, which also changes the taxes and things that have to be paid. So we've input that information, and I feel like it's a pretty comprehensive budget as far as that, and then as far as the wages and the, now with the healthcare, we're gonna have another change because that was based off 10% increase. And we haven't even had open enrollment, so that was based on last year's figures. So we're working with the best that we can. And that's what I have presented to you today.
okay, well, appreciate all your hard work. We have to get this deadline to get this public hearing on this is gotta get in the paper next Wednesday, and we have to have a hearing on 30th because some of the person's deadline to have these submitted, so.
I can tell you that you can, you don't adopt this budget, but you can accept this as a tentative and have your public hearing. We need to produce something to the state of Michigan. Nothing, it doesn't have to necessarily be adopted.
Oh.
To my knowledge. We have to present them with the tentative 2022 budget. If you feel like it should be adopted, then absolutely do the public hearing.
Do we need a motion to have a tentative 2022?
I'm thinking
Everybody, I'll make a motion to have a tentative 2022 budget
I'll support that.
for recording purposes.
for recording purposes. Any other conversation? Hearing none. Let's vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
No,
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Doctor.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to schedule we need to get in the paper for the 24th, public hearing for the 30th, the 6 days after or whatever. So I'll have to have a special meeting on the 30th at 1:30 PM. For the public hearing. I have to have a public hearing before we take to the state, right? For the tentative? Yes, okay, thank you.
My suggestion is that you do meet with the departments and any adjustments can be handled prior to that meeting, and then you will have because by the 30th, we should have the insurance information, we can make the adjustments, we can meet with the departments, because I don't know that they've been met with yet. In regards to any of this is just a tentative. This is what everybody handed in.
Yep.
With a few exceptions that were at the special meeting, those changes have been input because you voted on some of them as motions. Some of them need to be clarified for department, so I think it would be a good idea to maybe have at least meet with the main departments.
We'll set up a schedule. We'll talk about the meeting today.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everybody. Let's do the claims.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between November the 3rd, 2021, and November 16th, 2021, for check numbers 145,899 to 146,047, and e-check numbers 1718 to 1726, for a grand total of $573,495.11.
Supported by Brady. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson.
Next is, I'll make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the grant, the EMPG grant for the EMS grants.
I'll support it. Terry support it.
Motion by Bergie, supported by Terry. Any discussion? None? I don't know if we roll call on this or not. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. What was the other thing that went into this?
Roof.
The roof. Who wants to make a motion about the roof?
I can. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the roof bid from Great Lakes Roofing in the amount of $156,000. And in that, there's one adjustment I'd like to make. All three bid sheets were the same for everybody. But when it came back, all they did was ask for additional materials and what materials would cost if there was indeed unforeseen repairs needed to the roof, to the porch roofs. Everybody came back with prices for materials, but nowhere is it stated in the bid sheet that labor is included. Dave has asked all three companies if labor is included. They all said yes, but I'd like to have that added and signed by Great Lakes Roofing when they accept the bid. You know what I'm saying?
So a motion to accept the bid from Great Lakes Roofing with the caveat that they alter the contract to read labor is included on repairs.
Yeah, with the additional materials if needed. They all say it is, but nowhere does it say it is in the contract. I'll second that.
Motion by Dan, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Gothier,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Okay, finance report. Working on my budget. I got two things I gotta talk to Cheryl about today with the auditor. Other than that, business as usual. Yeah, from stuff for me.
Yeah, but also in the 244, 249 fund building department. We just need to make some changes to the bottom line. We increase the bottom line on revenues and increase the bottom line on expenditures. It's all spelled out into the sheet that Cheryl has provided for us. And under the one line item, soil erosion, that needs to be amended by, we need to add $105 to that. But other than that, it's just that they made more money. And they, of course, there was more money expended out on the inspection fees or inspections by plumbing, heating, electrical, and building. So the fund was just adjusted.
Oh, you just, okay.
We just
You
need to
made this
approve-
change.
Yeah,
We need to approve it?
Yeah, just need to make, yeah.
So what, so we need to,
We're improving the bottom line by 35,812 and increasing the expenditure line by 35,800.
oh, to make up for the revenue,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. It's just-
Support.
Who is supported? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Personnel,
We are requesting before the end of the meeting that we go into a session. regarding the negotiations.
very good. Treasurer's report.
We have concluded our issue with the property that sold at sale improperly. That there's a whole lot of things that are going on with that right now. We're in the process of refunding the money back to the buyer. And then it's going to be a process that the purchaser, the original purchasers will have to deal with the Equalization Department and their title company. And, you know, I'm not sure how that all is going to pan out, but I'll keep you updated. So we have resolved the issue on my end. It's in the process of being completed right now. Been working on, I know I'm going to skip to budget, back to budget. There are 25, at least 25 budgets that have not been turned in, but I haven't received any information from departments. I do have a listing, and I did send that out to you all in an email last week. There's a few major ones that I really feel like we need to, somebody needs to step up and get those done. The park and rec, housing, 911, there's quite a bit that have not been turned in. Some of them, a few of them, I'm waiting for communications from the auditor in regards to how to set up the new funds with the new laws for the tax foreclosure fund. So that's on me. I'm still kind of waiting on some information. I will have a tentative budget prior to the meeting. That was another question I had, how you wanted to handle the other funds. Okay, I mean, there's quite a few that they haven't been reviewed by the board, and that is because what my understanding of my position as a budget analyst is the information is being brought to me, it's still your decision. I'm not making a decision on putting numbers in. I'm getting that information and providing it to you, and it's your decision.
Correct.
So that being said, I've provided you with the information, and I'm just looking for the next step on how you want to handle it, because I have about 40% of the other budgets in, and they're in the department. Budget requests, they haven't been reviewed by the board. Is that going to be incorporated in what you are doing for your next meeting?
No, I was gonna ask for a workshop next week when it came to
Okay.
extra curricular committee reports here. But I can do it right now.
That's fine. I just kind of need to know moving forward, you know, because getting the information the day before pelted at me is making it difficult to get you good information.
Yep.
And that's what I take this very seriously, and I think I really want to do a good job, but it's putting me at a disadvantage when I'm getting information the day before you expect it in some type of form. So, you know, I'm just looking for a little clarity on and maybe a little advance.
Okay.
I'm good. I worked really hard. I will give you 100%, but I gotta have something to work with.
Okay, does anybody have any time available next week, 23rd or 22nd?
Gotta have it.
Mhm.
There's stuff you can do about it, better do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down.
Monday?
Yeah,
Monday, we have a district health meeting, but
what time?
yeah, we're done after that, so usually we're done.
We'll see what we 1 o'clock. These days, guys time to come back.
It's just here. There, so I think.
Oh, is it Nashville?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard.
What time does it start?
8:30 is done by 12. So
Oh, so we can meet at like, well, let's do 1 o'clock.
What works for you? You're the main cog in the
1 o'clock does not work.
wheel.
As far as I know.
Okay.
On day one.
On 8/1, we'll do a workshop, non-general fund budget workshop, a budget workshop. Bring in your home budgets too, bring your checkbook, we'll help you out. All right, treasurer's report, thank you very much. How about the clerk's report?
We don't really have a whole lot to report today. We're just, we've been working, on getting the health quotes. For you guys to vote on and assisting with the budget. And we'll continue to do that.
Okay.
So now I'm assuming we have to go back through with help with on the monies we put in for the help.
Well, it's reduced from 10.06 to 7.46, I think, so you want me to reduce it?
3%.
I think until enrollment's over, there's no point in chasing that tail.
The quotes aren't gonna change after. open.
No, we don't know
But we
who's
don't know
gonna
who's
choose what.
signing up.
If
for
something's
what.
changing.
That won't change until the following year. These quotes are, I believe, for the 2022 year.
Right.
Correct, but if
I
I'm,
opt in,
if I have HSA and I switch to HRA, that changes.
It'll change the utilization for the following year, I believe. So I can check.
so if I sign up for insurance,
I think
It's
these
not
are our
gonna
quotes
cost
for the
me
2022 year.
Right.
right,
So,
but I take a buyout right now. If I
Mhm.
don't take the buyout and I take an insurance, that's not gonna change my budget.
Oh, I understand. what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that'll
lot.
change. Yeah, you can't do nothing till that. We can't allow the deductibles.
Yeah.
That's like 40,000, 30,000.
Yeah, that. Okay, if that's it for the clerk's report, then we'll do a 5-minute recess and come back to a closed session for the EMS union negotiations. Start whenever you want. Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well forget.
That's for you.
Yeah.
We gotta meet. Turn it in. Revenue, we already over that. And then you have to. Yeah.
We just don't want to.
No idea how
budget 2022. She's here.
Hey, Diane, are you listening? Rash? Oh,
Okay, you're not muted. You're good.
yeah, she's not. I lost my text. No, I think she's.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Diane.
It took me a while.
Real quick, did you get my request for your 2022 budget?
Yeah, I emailed it back to you on the 11th of November. That's why I was wondering how come you didn't speak up.
I don't know, because I thought if you would have got it and then I would have scored it right down, but it's probably my fault.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I probably do.
Better say it again, Diane.
All right, I will. Actually, I just sent a copy to Cheryl too.
Yeah, copy Dan, copy, the President of the United States, whoever wants to get it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So roll call to start up here.
Brumman,
Here.
Reggie,
Here.
Small,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
Dodd here.
Here.
Move to go into closed session.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Can I mute the video?
Video's right, there you go.
Yeah. Holy cow, you always want on board and I can't do the technology. How's that work? Can you hear me now? All right.
All these land.
We don't need all of this. Sorry about that. It's just informative. Okay, moving on, we have civil communications, you can review at your leisure. And we'll move on to public comment, limited to 5 minutes, identify yourself.
Committee reports.
Oh, committee reports, yeah, we can do that first. Well, what do you got? Nothing for you, nothing for you. Secretary report?
I have one, just one.
Oh, we got one.
The Fair Board met last month and they removed a member, Steve Fall, for lack of participation and abandoning the particular position he was in. And then they went ahead and got new members that were up for renewal. Myself, Sheila Phillips, Jessica Kaiser, and Deb Goyette were all reelected for 3-year terms. And there's a copy of the minutes for the removal of the one.
You need board, are you asking?
No, I'm just informative because you approved the board members and.
Well, which is why I'm thinking you need to formally take them off.
The one. The other one be appointed.
Do we do that? We appoint those?
Okay. Yeah. Then the motion would be to remove the where Steve Fall and to put the other one, Thompson, Phillips, Kaiser, and Goyette back on for 3 years.
Support.
One supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Bill, can I have a question? Sheila mentioned about Parks and Rec for 2022 budget. Did you have any luck getting a hold of it?
I'm got it in my notes. I thought they had turned it in.
Okay.
I did too, so
Okay, I just saw it. Yeah. I thought-
they got two, between Gary and this new guy that he gets lost. Gary's out Arizona or someplace out west, and then the other one is
It's not
trying.
like it's rocket scientists. They got it about the same every year.
Yeah, they do it every year, so I have it on the list to give them a call.
All right, Carolyn, what do you got?
Oh, nothing, not enough boards.
The thing you said to me is, you want to do anything with that today?
Moving on.
Moving on.
I'm gonna put that down. She didn't have anything to.
That is the first. You need to write that down.
You don't want to hear what I have to say.
Good one, Bill.
All right, then. Now we can do public comment. Limited 5 minutes. Identify yourself and your township, please. Go as you will.
My name is Jeffrey Dobbs. I live in Curtis Township. I want to thank Carolyn and Dan for standing up for our constitutional rights of conscience. It means a lot to us to know that we do have some commissioners who are willing to stand up and declare that they support our Constitution, which is the common law foundation of our country. To the rest of you, well, I know you've got your reasons, but these are not normal times, and normal times, require, or abnormal times require, sometime you stick your neck out a little bit and stand up for your employees, for your constituents, and declare that the foundation of our country is the letter of the law we're going to stand behind and uphold. I wish I would have seen that here today, but I didn't. So thank you too for again supporting us, and the rest of you. I hope you feel all right with your decision. Thank you.
Next, please.
Oh, well, I just want to go, Lisa Turek, Harrisville Township. I just wanted to say, Adam, in your comments, what were interesting to me, you said, I'm free to think what I want. I'm free to think what I want when you were talking to Carrie. I thought, well, that's interesting. So that must feel good to you that you're free to think what you want. So I would assume that you're also feel good about being free to do what you want also. And the word free is basically all we're asking is that you stand up for the freedoms of the people in this county. You appreciate the freedom to think for yourself. I bet you appreciate the freedom to do what you want, to do whatever you want, as long as you're not harming somebody else. So why wouldn't you stand up for the freedoms of the people in this county that you enjoy, that you appreciate in your own life? So that struck me when you said that yet, that you like the freedom to think for yourself and probably do what you like, but yet you're not willing to stand up for the freedoms of everybody else in this county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
I'll go.
Okay.
Yep, Perry Mullins, Mankato Township. I'm just going to read this. I did not say that you were not a Republican, Adam. In fact, I know that the majority of you are Republicans. You've been to our meetings, save for one. There are many levels of Republican, all of which show conservative values. We have a platform at the Republican Party that we use to vet fellow Republicans to see if they have those conservative values. I pray that all of our Republican commissioners have not lost too many of those conservative values. And when you don't vote on these things in a Republican way, in a conservative way, in a way that promotes freedom, it distresses me. My comments were not to diminish your conservative values, but to remind you of your status. You're all ours. You all have the R next to your name for a reason. And it just feels like that R has become less and less. It means less and less as time goes by. And that saddens me. I want you to take your R seriously. Also, don't sell yourself short. You have a lot more influence than you think. You are all role models for the community. We do pay attention to what you have to say, and we do spread that information. So, don't sell yourself short. We do appreciate what you guys do at the meetings and stuff like that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. I'll leave it at that. I'll send you guys an email with the Republican Party platform attached, just as a little reminder. I hope to see you guys at one of our meetings. Like I said, the last one of the year is November 22nd. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Anyone else?
Yeah, I got a little statement here. God gave us all bodily autonomy. In other words, we own our bodies, and we don't have to submit, or we get to determine what goes into our bodies. We don't have to submit to somebody else's dictates on that. It's not a far right position or ultra conservative position to ask that our government protect that right, as our founding documents protect that right. And it's not far right to come here and ask you as our representatives, we're your constituents, to ask you to protect our rights, which are being violated by certain government entities currently. The Bolshevik Democrats have politicized the fear of this pandemic to advance their agenda, their communistic agenda. None of our founding documents or principles have been suspended, and there's no provision in those documents to suspend them when we have a pandemic. I also want to state that is the position of the Michigan GOP and the national GOP to oppose these unconstitutional mandates. It's not, again, it's not some far right radical position or ultra conservative position. And I just want to, that is the position of the mainstream Republican Party. And as a trustee of the county Republican Party here, I want to make sure that's stated. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Dr. Bob Turk, Harrisville Township. Feels strange to be here rather than over here. Commissioner Brumman, thank you for your leadership on this issue, as well as your 2 yes votes. Commissioner Gauthier, Also much appreciative of your 2 yes votes. Commissioner Thompson, it was wonderful to hear you at the last meeting. Voice a change that you would like to be made in the declaration. I made that. Without your comment today, we have no idea why you didn't vote for that, but I can personally speak as one of your constituents in Harrisville Township. I think you do a grave disservice to your constituents when you do not let them know why you're voting against somebody. Actually, I think it's harmful to our whole representative form of government, but thank you for at least saying something last meeting. Commissioner Small, once again, a couple no votes last meeting and this meeting without any discussion. Really have no idea how you feel on that. If I was a constituent of yours, I'd feel the same way, that you're doing me a grave disservice. All I can really go back to is one other meeting where you had said something to the effect of, we weren't there yet. I wonder what it would take you to feel like we were there yet. If I misunderstood, I apologize. Commissioner Brady, you had expressed a reservation in general signing resolutions, so we changed this to a declaration. You had reservations about the requirement to send it out to all the other counties in the state of Michigan. We removed that. You had concerns that the group of people here weren't representative of your constituency. So we went to all the townships and addressed the township boards who represent 100% of your constituents. And in your district, Guston Township passed this resolution, as did Haynes and Hawes, as far as I know, by unanimous margin. And so I wonder, have you ever had any business before you as a board where you have had more constituent input than you did on this? Do you ask for constituent input when you decide to put a new roof on the county courthouse? Do you ask for constituent input when you do a union negotiation? Despite all the amendments we did to this resolution, here again, until today, I had never heard you say, Commissioner Brady, why you opposed it. And today, I really didn't understand why you opposed this specific resolution or declaration. So I would ask, wouldn't it have just been simpler to say ahead of time that you were never going to vote for this? And it occurs to me that, but then we would not have seen who you were politically speaking, would we? I think we all have seen who you are politically speaking. Despite the fact there's not a functioning journalist here or reporter, the word does get out and people do know. I think when you vote against something multiple times and you don't say why, an objective observer would have to conclude that you actually support the vaccine mandates as well as requiring proof of vaccination for Appointed County employees. And for this, I truly pity you, because throughout history,
Commissioner's comments.
it's been 5 minutes, I'm sorry.
No, it hasn't been. Keep going.
Okay. Because throughout history, the people who sought to force and coerce us into doing things, they've always turned out to be the bad guys. And you have aligned yourself with the bad guys. And for that, I truly do pity you. In conclusion, I come up with a Bible passage that I think applies here. It goes something like, have I now become your enemy by seeking you the truth? Well, by telling you the truth, I'm sorry. Well, I have just told you the truth, and I am not your enemy. If you seek to know who your true enemy is, you need to go no further than to look in the mirror. Thank you.
Jessica Dobbs, Curtis Township.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Thank you. I want to start off by clarifying that I am speaking directly for myself as an individual and not on behalf of anyone or any organization. As such, Adam, this first bit is in direct reply to your comments during the discussion portion of the motion to pass the Declaration for Medical Autonomy and Freedom. You said you don't want to step on anyone's toes, and you don't want anyone stepping on your toes. Yet, by not taking a stand against mandates, you are allowing a door to be opened for the government and employers to step on many people's toes. Also, By voting no on this declaration and past declarations and resolutions, you show you don't care enough about your county employees to stand up for their freedom of choice either. You said you were responsible only for them. There you are sadly wrong. You are our direct representatives below the state representatives. You are a part of government. You are a step above the townships. You represent everyone who lives in Alcona County, not just the county employees. You are elected and you are there to serve the people of Alcona County, not just the employees of the county. Thank you, Carolyn and Dan, for at least having the backbone to stand with your constituents and for freedom. I yield back my time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's do commissioner closing comments. Who's up?
Carolyn first.
Just a point of information, if I might. Even though sometimes we get, I'm guilty of it. You all know I am at times, of wanting to respond during public comment. It is not the time we are to respond. It is not the time we are to make comment, not really even generally speaking, asking a question. So although it may appear we don't have interest or whatever, it is because of the procedural method of utilizing public comment that most of us, in theory, all of us, don't speak up at that time. Just clarification of that.
Who else?
Well, you're available as anything. Something? You don't have nothing, I have nothing.
No, I'm out. No, I have no comments.
No comments.
Talk to me after the meeting. With that, meeting adjourned.